We have Garchen Rinpoche here. Very good morning, Tashitele Rinpoche.
어이구라 상가 다시 될래 아유 까만 생체谢谢你们 드리자는 다들 당고서 파면도 피 옷도 바래 이 파면도 피인데 토마토 보더니 루무던지 초게더니 워치네더니 싱가포르 주로가 토마토지 다니래가 짜장 지내니 다 많이 다 받들이 메트이네더니 초발에 대대수만 상지 마차발에 드리자다 드리 로레지리 야젠도 요런데나 하저게 그 맞다 침모래 이 뺀나 같다더니 잡지 통도 진창게 많이 듣긴지 로망볼 반잠성에 대다 야고 촌나 드리 같은 니마 지역에는 동서지 격작적 쏴지들이 인터뷰를 이 대다들은 잡으려는 말이 바비버는 니도 거기에 니 세는 이 타마타니 전에 이 감성 생긴 삼세를 태우고래 가정에 딱 느끼지 같이 뭐지 들이 동력 소소소 쪽쪽들이 다 태빈 쪽방을 가리는 것이 밤에 그 느끼지 이 다치버리 이 다치 모임 봤더니 잡을래들이 샤송도 소상만 하더니 밤에 좀 다시 진짜 돈 다치 뭐 송교래 대시에 때렸더니 그런 저기 반항 대답을 뛰니지 다다 밤에 느끼는데 양타양도 참이 마음과라 던지 소소 당하는데 마음도 막지 드리야지 공통을 잡으면 잡으래 개버그마 드리 통통 드리지 신경하지 말고 일을 세지 체대 개버그마 기술 보여래 이들이 자작하려 좀 같은 제로 도마 다시 내리죠.
So today we are starting the Amitabha retreat, and the Amitabha retreat is led by Ruben Dorjin, who is leading the Singapore Center, and then also all of the volunteer disciples of the Singapore Center, who actually all of them work on a voluntary basis since the very beginning up until now, continuously. And so that's really an incredible merit. And in this way, also the Singapore Center has really been improving year by year. And the virtue that you practice is really incredible. Also, for example, recently we have reinstated the Mani Drupchen by Drupang Rinpoche that has been interrupted for many years. And now we started the Drupchen again, the retreat again. And so we held that retreat for the first time for 4 days this year, and we accumulated 2 billion and a million of mantras and more. And many of the disciples did actually get up in the middle of the night, trying not to be mindless, but you woke up in the middle of the night just to join the retreat. And that's also incredible, because we are doing these practices for the benefit of all beings in the three realms. And that's why we consider these Drupchens, these retreats, as so important. And also the 100 million mantra recitation retreats. So it's considered really important in many centers around the world. For example, also in Taiwan Center considers the Amitabha practice as really very precious. And so, in any case, east or west in the world, we are all practicing Amitabha. And we are doing it for the benefit of beings, because it is said that it is a very powerful practice for the benefit of sentient beings. And it is a great merit. And so with that motivation and a pure perception, a pure view, again and again, I encourage you to continue to engage in this practice of the Amitabha retreat. In the future, continue to join these retreats so they grow stronger and more people will join the retreat. That would be really incredible. So now we just have a very short time, but also during this time, I'm encouraging you to engage in this practice also in future times. And so, as I said, many of the disciples are so inspired that they get up in the middle of the night just to join the practice, and they can do that because they want to benefit all sentient beings. So anyways, it's very important to again and again encourage others to practice the Dharma. And so first in the beginning, I would like to say Dashi Dele to everyone who has joined on the live stream.
대바당 무구나 양들이 다대서 말고 당청염 차도고요 펜싱 소지들이 로마가 발 로마 피지 발들이 밤이 바가들이 세상도 차도고 관계들이 당청 창량도고요 텍스트들이 게다와테 냠도고요 대소 체들이 당청염 차 당대소 체들 소탈가 소용성 막 왕들이 대저 왕같이 시나 왕랑 그 시왕 왕들인바 그다다 라면을 졸로더니 왕들인바 데라서 보는지 하장 같이 알비 들이다로 딱와 들이 이렇게 같이 왔던데 왕은 로요래 그다다 밤에 왕 뭐인.
And normally, always before we start a very important practice, an important drupchen or a retreat, we receive an empowerment. And so the reason why this is so important is because the sentient beings, many of the disciples, they do have a lot of devotion, they have faith in the practice, but then also because they are a little bit ignorant, then sometimes they and unmindful, and sometimes they break their samaya, or they transgress the samaya. And the samaya is to be held between the guru and the disciples, but also between the disciples themselves. And so sometimes, because we are unmindful, we become controlled by anger and jealousy and so on, and that leads to us breaking our samaya. And if we break our samaya, then our roots of virtue will decline. And so the purpose of receiving an empowerment is to restore these broken samayas. In the sutra tradition, we have a practice called the sojong, which is the purifying and restoring practice. And the sojong of the tantric tradition is the empowerment. So during an empowerment, we restore our declined or degenerated virtues. And there is different empowerments that we can receive, also self-empowerments. For example, in the Guru Yoga practice, there are 4 empowerments that we can take ourselves. And any empowerment is extremely important for that reason. And so especially every year before we start a drupchen, the Amitabha retreat, it is important that we also receive empowerment. So therefore, I will first confer the Amitabha Empowerment. The next we will read the history in English and not in Tibetan, because most Tibetans already know the story. But the story is very precious, it's very important, and there's a lot of people listening on the live stream today. So first we're going to read the history in English. So it's the empowerment to accomplish birth in the blissful realm of Sukhavatim from the Sky Dharma Circle. Guru Padmasambhava foretold, Lapki Drolmam, an emanation of Yeshe Tsogyal, who cuts through discursive thoughts with a mind that is free from a fixed frame of reference, will appear at the copper-colored mountain. The Manjushri Root Tantra says, according to the Buddha's prophecy, accomplished masters and scholars of India and Tibet, such as Aryadeva, Kadampa Sangye, and the Derdun clairvoyant monk, recognized her as an emanation of the Great Mother. The wisdom Dakini magic imparted to her son Gyalva Dundrup the secret words of the Dakinis, known as the 21 Samayas, wherein it says, "If you aspire to attain Buddhahood swiftly, you should pray to be born in the pure Buddha realm. There are limitless Pure Lands of unfathomable extent, except for the blissful Pure Land of Sukhavatim. In order to be born in the highest and other Pure Lands, one must have eliminated the 2 obscurations completely and attained at least the 8th Bhumi. Just to be born in the middling Pure Lands, one must have eliminated even the slightest obscuration of afflictive emotions and attained at least the path of meditation. Just to be born in the lowest Pure Land, one must have destroyed self-grasping and attained the path of seeing, the truth of selflessness. Unless one has reached the path of seeing, one cannot be born in these Pure Lands. There may be some who take birth in a lower Pure Land, such as the Tushita heaven, even though they have not attained the path of seeing, but only if they have never committed even the slightest transgression of samaya and vows, have abandoned all negative actions, have practiced perfect virtue, and have prayed fervently. But even then, it is difficult to be born there. These Pure Lands are not the birthplace of ordinary sentient beings with afflictive emotions. Since it is impossible for an ordinary being with afflictive emotions to be born in these Buddha realms, the Buddha Amitabha made an aspiration to create a Pure Land wherein anyone can be born. And this is the Pure Land of Sukhavatim. Since this is the vow of the protector Amitabha, you should immerse yourself fully in the prayer to be born in Sukhavatim. Free of doubts, hesitations, laziness, hopes, or fears, and with certainty and fierce diligence, you should pray to be born in Sukhavatim. You should visualize it and remember its excellent qualities. Why is the Pure Land of Sukhavati superior to the other Pure Lands? It is because even ordinary beings with afflictive emotions can be born there. Once born there, all one's wishes will be fulfilled by merely thinking of them, and one will not be defiled by even the slightest obscuration and afflictive emotion. It is superior because from there one can travel to any other Buddha realm as one desires, and one will attain Buddhahood swiftly. Other than the Pure Land of Sukhavatim, there is no other Pure Land with such qualities that can be reached so easily. It is thus critical to exert oneself in prayers to be born in Sukhavati. Similarly, the Sutra of the Sublime Buddha Amitabha says, "Through hearing Amitabha's name and dedicating your roots of virtue to be born in his Pure Land, you will be reborn there. Even if there are obscurations in your mind, they will not hinder you from going there, except if you have committed one of the 5 deeds without interval or abandoned the Dharma. According to Amitabha's aspiration, it is extremely easy to be born there. Once born there, one will not return to samsara. In this land, not even the sound of suffering is known. In this land, one attains enlightenment within a state of perfect bliss. Since there are no obstacles to attaining complete enlightenment, this practice is referred to as the close path. However, if you are a good practitioner, but fail to pray, it is uncertain whether or not you will be born there. The master Gunsho Yenlak said to the monk Churin, "Everything depends on aspirations. Whatever aspiration you make with a sincere intention will be accomplished accordingly. In whichever Pure Land you wish to be born after this life, whether in Sukhavati, in Tushita, Akanishta, or at the feet of the glorious Guru, direct your prayers towards it. Supplicate the Guru and the 3 jewels. Invoke the activities of the Dakinis and Dharma protectors. Encourage mother sentient beings of the 6 classes to practice virtue. Dedicate all virtues for this purpose. In this way, you establish the favorable conditions for birth in the Pure Land to be accomplished." The prayer of Sukhavati, found in the sadhana of the single principle Lord Amitabha, is renowned in both the old and new tantric systems. However, the complete empowerment and sadhana of the Pure Land did not exist in former times. On the 7th day of the Sakadava month of the female firebird year, in the 31st Rapchung, the great emanation Mingyo Dorje, at the age of 13, directly beheld the face of Amitabha with his 2-fold retinue, appearing as large as a mountain and radiating with brilliant splendor. He directly received empowerment and instructions. Once again, on the same day in the evening, he beheld the face of Amitabha and his retinue and received further instructions, as well as a prayer to recognize the dream state. Further, the Dharma of the Chronicles of Padma says, just as the difference between beer and water becomes clear when experiencing its taste, so will the power of the Dharma become clear when practiced. Since the Poa practice of this lineage is extremely powerful, signs will occur even within the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. If you visualize clearly, signs will undoubtedly appear, such as swelling of your crown or blood emerging from it. Rejung Dorje Dakpa said in one of his songs, "If you know how to spread the wings of the knowledge mantra, you will fly to the Pure Land." Thus, if you exert yourself in this practice, like an eagle soaring high in the sky, you will go to the Pure Land of Sukhavatim after your body has perished. The Bhagavan said, "It is a greater merit to join one's palms with faith in the Buddha Amitabha and Sukhavatim for a single moment than it is to offer billions of universes filled with the 7 royal treasures." Hearing the name of Amitabha says, if one develops faith with a sincere intention, for even just a moment, one will attain the state of no return, the state of unsurpassed awakening. People sometimes think that Amitabha and Sukhavati Devachen are really far away, but don't think that way, because actually Amitabha appears in many different ways. There are many emanations of Amitabha. There are many spiritual teachers who are emanations of Amitabha. So, for example, like myself, I have not seen Amitabha's face directly. It's not like I had a vision of Amitabha, but at one time he did actually appear to me as an emanation. And so that was at our monastery. There was this great Siddha, Tenzin Sangpo, who was going to come to the monastery. And so that morning, I saw a bird at the monastery, and it kind of looked like a peacock, which is Amitabha's animal, a bird. And so right away, I thought, this is Amitabha. And I extended my palms toward the bird, and the bird came right to me, and then looked at me and kind of nodded to me, kind of as a greeting. And so then the sun was rising, and I really thought that this is an emanation of Tenzin Sangpo, who was then arriving later. And actually before that, I haven't seen him before, and he hasn't seen me before. But when we then met, he actually said, "Oh, I've seen you just before. I've seen you before." And so that even made my belief firmer, knowing that actually we didn't know each other in person, but he really appeared to me as this peacock-like bird in the morning. And he was actually said to be an emanation of Amitabha. So that's why I felt that Amitabha really appeared to me. And so then also he led this retreat at our monastery. And also he was a Lama with really great blessings. So there are many stories of how Amitabha appeared directly as an emanation to people. And he appears, for example, as any spiritual teacher. And all of the spiritual teachers are here to uphold, to protect, and to propagate the Buddha Dharma. And because that's what they do, we really should see them as real emanations of the Buddha. That's how I certainly see them. And so I would like to also encourage you, my Dharma friends, to see it that way.
Meda sato somaya mane valaya meda tato de loba titante do me bao soto kao me bao sobo chao me bao andara to me bao sawa de me pa yeta sawa kama tatam chiang guru hong ha ho bangai sawa tatanga tambe dama me munta be da ba ma sama Sado una savata kada abeki kade samaya jere o rani ke da wa to to wo jo to da ya so jo jo na jo be to sama no do ko ba jo o ma a hong o do ne jinu do to ma ne do te jo o ma a hong o ma ne dajo be so de to ne tanga do ba runga trado ma se ba ka so no do se ji do no so go je ne ka de me je se de na ji to lo ko jo so me ga ni ge to me so ma ho be na ho ba ya ho ga ana ya ho ba ga be ya da ya ho Kole me pocho so de me tanje char je ne so do ju ko kan isin ga de me bomba me da ja de na ka da nya bi sem jin tang che da di za dong ge za dan ji dong ge za dan ji za dong ge dan ji je dong ge Devena tridi ci ceni quando mi rabu gori mi daci bade da kache ga da karina da sanje de ya sachi bogo sare da kangma bogo sare sa te no te mari sanje le chobeni le mena yang ngaso ga tene de dandi no che de mi rabu gori tri mi dala da mi da tamche no da kache bode jemna le pesonga me la da somebody ti me da ha cha karche bo te ta ja to le ya ba sala ya te me da ti to da yang da sam ro ta o ta me da tham che ti to da ri do sam tri me da pro na
The root of suffering of all sentient beings, limitless as space, is self-grasping. And so the result of self-grasping is suffering. For this reason, whenever we receive a teaching or an empowerment, we always offer a mandala in the beginning. And so some people might wonder what that is about, because maybe they think that, so now I have to make all these offerings to the Buddha, and maybe the Buddhas need all the nice things, that they need many houses and things like that. But that's definitely not true. It's not that the Buddhas need anything, but we are making this offering in order to destroy our own fixation, our attachment, the self-grasping. And there's different kinds of mandala offering, and the mandala offering that is the most clear in terms of understanding the meaning is the mandala offering that we find in the Milarepa Guru Yoga practice. And so that's why we're going to recite that now. It's a very important mandala offering because it really shows you the meaning. And once you have understood that and you really think about the meaning, then later on when you offer another mandala, then you will remember and you will really know that this is the real meaning of the mandala offering. So now please offer a mandala. So then I'm going to, Rinpoche wants us to read the mandala, which is on page 7 in the yellow prayer book. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. Completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial, the supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devanta Kini Ratna Mandala Pratitsa Soha.
One Kanga Kani in a young Rangi Yadam Geu, one should say Tamseki, one Dubai, Chete Tamja, Sanjay Tamji, Jilin, Tamset and Sanjay Obama, or the Petty Osa. Obama saw him between them, quality, Chukata, chapter, Ramji, chapter, or 3 longer Jasong and the Namka Jasong and the Kimpong Tapaja, Namka Musijo, some Tenita saw the Batel saw Tapayosa. One girl coming at me, Naga Pachapur, or Raymond, Namka, that of the country, Jomaji, Flamotegi, Flamonga. Jawarima young Mate Tamsik, the Papa did 70 Tamjera Chapawan Kokoyosa, Chapapa is another Jachimbo Yosa, there were talking the kitchen with your head. The one dominated the Naso datum than Jerry already, dominated the one guy can have Yingitany, Sanjing, the one guy can chap the Yore, Jimari Patani, question about so many Melangum Chami, Jani. Hong Shayo Maris, Hong Duan Michael Chapter Odi, to the Cadugo and Kong Santi, Kong Yoresum, yes, only the Hajan culture were already.
So whenever we receive an empowerment, we should think that the empowerment deities of this empowerment embody the embodiments of all the other yidams or Buddhas that you have ever practiced. So if you have a personal yidam deity that you're connected to, or if you have received different kinds of empowerments, you should think that during this empowerment that they all have the essence of the Buddha Amitabha. So all of these Buddhas, all of these yidam deities appear in the space in front of you, having the essence of the Buddha Amitabha. And Amitabha is the principal deity in the center, in space. But actually, the Dharmakaya nature, which is like space, is all pervasive. So he naturally pervades all of space, his mind. And then the Sambhogakaya appears in space just like a rainbow appears in the sky, or just like clouds amassing. So think that the empowerment deities are all here, gathered in front of you in space, and they are really here, and think that I am now supplicating to them. And so therefore, when you receive the empowerment, it's not just me holding the vase and giving the empowerment, but actually the empowerment deities the 5 male Buddhas and the 5 female Buddhas, the 5 Dakinis, pervade all of space, pervade the 4 or the 5 elements, and they are always present. And they are all here holding empowerment vases in their hands and conferring the empowerment upon all sentient beings. So you should think in this really vast way. Think that the empowerment nectar falls down from the sky just like rain falling down, and it pervades all sentient beings. So it's very important to think in this broad way. And that's the actual meaning of the empowerment. What I am doing with the vase now is just symbolic, but the actual deity is all pervasive, pervades the 5 elements. For example, a story that you can find in the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa that many of you have seen is the story where just before Milarepa passed into nirvana, he said to his disciples, "Actually, I cannot die. I will continue to pervade the 5 elements. Whenever you need me, I will be there. My love will be there." So it's very important to understand this.
这喇嘛把门公堂今日在当特勤托上街上身把米拉做完的时候
And then in English, Allah's Guru, Protector Amitabha, Chenrezig, Vajrapani, and limitless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I supplicate you, please bestow empowerment upon me.
他所做的这个季节性看，老板的今日是，老头儿，我这要把没做过，那我什么的就不真的，假如身体就多把些，两边的也记得那玩意个。
In the presence of the Guru, who is Chenrezig, the tamer of beings, and the empowerment implements, who represent Amitabha and his retinue, appearing at this place, which is Sukhavatim, think that you are receiving the refuge and bodhisattva vows by repeating the following.
滚出生了，来讲起，得把每个说下，若为给了，既然上街上车，一起送。 上街去上，从错了，讲出话的，加手机，让你同意，รับ这事，上出什么，几百件，上出错个，什么几几呢？sem经常见。 大根中的年，三秋中秋，一样节八节，做了平时，常见着八周。
And in English, I take refuge in the 3 jewels. I confess all misdeeds and non-virtues. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings, and I hold the Buddha's awakening in mind. Until attaining awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly in order to fully accomplish the purpose of others and myself. I give rise to bodhicitta, having given rise to the mind of supreme awakening. I welcome all beings. I will engage in the supreme bodhisattva conduct that is pleasing to all may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
다들이 격투로 더 와셔봐. 산초도 샘지바. 산초 샘지바라 띠니 들다 왕게 제름을 토요래. 이 왕게 제름 좋아. 다 왕게 감이 소마 다나 라티도 공고도 어석장 난데다위 마삼 내 강이지. 샘지 삼제 피고 섬로 깨적나지 마타데. 내가 밤이 거칠을 때는 람스 맥점 데렸다는 지 람스 샘을 살나. 지 람스 샘을 살때 람스 샘도 메롱다베. 다진이요 말 샘도 메롱다베 이시송. 이때 샘도 살을 되는데 지 람스 샘을 살도가 하고 되다 람스 샘이 가가 많이 봐. 람스 샘도 메롱다베 데라 강신을 찾아도 베스다베 내가 밤이 거칠라메 샘을 지 이 감이더니 밤에 제대로 양아 밤에 거바오로 때렸다 양장도 왕 감이더니 밤에 라미 드인이나 드인저게 요래 드리다도 깨는 거니 밤에 구독 때렸다 드리 망고 산나 드리지 오 심지 삼세 나가 가면 밤에 드인이나 저게 요래 적지나 저게 요래 가래 되나 드리 또 랑 샘도 당 메롱 따위에 뭐 하고는 드리 메롱 따위 시성 이시가면은 드리 추디인지 시스템에서 맨들 저도 남가다고 들을 추디인지 시소. 근데 강이 봐서 니 찾도록 맞들 메롱다고 시성 그 시다지 이것이 제가 요리 하고는 생각이 살을 하다 밤에 살나 진짜게 요리
So this was taking refuge and confessing negativities and cultivating bodhicitta. And so bodhicitta, this is really our starting point of the generation stage, and so that's where the empowerment really begins. And so for the generation stage, that we visualize the deity, but so you don't really have to push yourself thinking that I must visualize myself as the deity, I must think that I am the deity. Don't think like that. Just think, may I benefit all sentient beings. And then in that moment, look at an image of Buddha Amitabha, and then close your eyes and have that image, even just vaguely, appear in your mind. The fact that it can appear in your mind is because it is said that the mind is like a mirror. Anything can be reflected. There is no self and no other in the mind. It's called the mirror-like wisdom. So it's enough if just an image, a vague image, an approximate image of Amitabha appears in your mind. Just know what appears is your own mind, and that Amitabha that appears is not separate from your own mind. So just like a reflection in a mirror, any deity can appear in your mind if you just think of that deity. So now, at once, think of Amitabha, close your eyes, and then at some point when I ask you to open your eyes, then again look at the image of Amitabha, and then repeat this by looking at Amitabha, closing your eyes, and again have this image of Amitabha appear in your mind throughout the entire duration of the empowerment. So if you just think of Amitabha, that's actually enough for the generation stage. So now sometimes it may be the case that many Amitabhas may appear in your mind, and then you can think that there is an Amitabha above the crown of each and every sentient being. That's fine to think that way. Or if you just think of one Amitabha, that's also fine. But most important is that you understand that your mind is like a mirror that can reflect anything. Of the 5 kinds of wisdom, this is the mirror-like wisdom. Then there is, for example, the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, which is the space-like nature of the mind. And then the mirror-like wisdom is the mind's potential to reflect anything. That's the quality of your primordial awareness that you should recognize here. So anything can be reflected in your mind, anything can appear in your mind. So now it is enough if you just think of Amitabha, and Amitabha just at once appears in your mind.
다와 그 제고벨에 돌로마지라나 밤에 또 그것도 좋고 자타도 제랑 비만다리나 밤에 오고도 말 미차레 제사이야 녀가들 소리지 제가 추서 잡아놓은 거 봐. 예선 직대용도 가래 자주 사자다잖아. 요청와 비마지 저보다 저 배들죠. 용도 사던 저지도 자주서 지금 뭐이 용도 저 들었더니 저보다 저 배다 저거 사자산들서 봐. 년수자 저 밤에 그 쪼었으면 내선 저서 내내 오늘 배대와지 제정하네요. 밤에 말아서 나 가봐요. 저기서 로만놈로도 뭐요 암미디와서 바로 배다 사마야 자자 너너 요야 남칸이요 밤이 차바는 이 밖에 오금도 그래.
So now think that the empowerment falls down like rain falling down from the sky.
최고 밤에 이제 들이다가 최고 최저를 뛰는 들이 밤에 최저고 좋은 말이 제 밤에도 밤에 이들이 사직 바리 뒤스리는 강의들이 밤에 걸레 새 어떤 심진 탐지를 안지는 마음이가 같은 유모방 나요래 대민의 이 시간은 매연고 요래 내가 잡아를 나리 내 생종왕한테 영광을 안지 마음이 바른 종왕 나리다다 양심지는 편우이가 연구요래 다다 때 민주들이 영 가동말이 들이다가 논들이 니 탐지를 가야 연관하지 면은 이렇게 다 최고 법관들이 생존한의 탐지 이 시작하로만 남아 탐지했더니 가동말을 하게 늘 이렇게들이 제 도적들이 나도 탐지를 왕고와 돈대 돈이 되다고 요래 이 용왕 알아 뛰니들이 로아 생긴지 zukizu미 탐지되는 용왕 알아 땡기 요래 맞기는 요 말에 이 돈다 하고 그래야 돼.
So the next section in the empowerment is the summoning or drawing in of life force and longevity. And that's also related to Amitabha. And actually Amitabha and Amitabha are really one and the same deity. They have the same essence. And so now during the drawing in or the summoning of life force and longevity, so we think that from the Buddha Amitabha and various lights radiate, and that gathers the various vital essences of all the universe and all beings. And so sentient beings, while they are in an unripe, immature state, they possess the 5 afflictive emotions. But when they mature, then those afflictions themselves become the 5 wisdoms. Also on the outer level, we have the 5 elements, and that is now in the impure, immature state. There are the 5 coarse elements, but when they mature, then they become the 5 dakinis. So in the immature or impure state, the elements can cause both benefit and harm for sentient beings. But once they become ripened, they become the pure 5 dakinis. So in brief, the entire universe and all beings in the universe are in reality the male and the female 5 dhyani Buddhas. And so during the summoning of life force, we think that we are drawing in the vital essences of the 5 elements and of the entire universe, and think that the 5 dakinis are gathering all of these vital essences. And then once the vital essences are being gathered, then they become a nectar, and with that nectar, the empowerment is then conferred. So we visualize in this way, but actually this also corresponds to reality, because everything, all vital force, everything comes from the 5 elements. Our vital force comes from the 5 elements. All sentient beings, whether they have a body or no body, and they all come into being through the 5 elements. So it's important also to understand this point during the summoning of life force. And then sometimes the subtle the elements, when they manifest in their subtle form, they manifest as a rainbow in 5 colors. And that's also represented by this silken banner here. For this silken banner, we need an arrow and 5 colored silks. And that is a symbol. And the Vajrayana is conveyed skillfully by means of signs and symbols. So these 5 colors represent the 5 elements, and so when they ripen, the 5 elements become the 5 dakinis. And in the mind, we have the 5 afflictive emotions when the mind is immature or unripe, and when it's ripened, they become the 5 wisdoms. So these 3 set of 5, the 5 elements, the wisdoms, and the afflictions are all connected with each other. And if you understand that, you actually understand the natural state of everything, of reality, of your mind. And so everything is pervaded by the 5 elements, the force of the 5 elements. And if one of them is too strong, so if the elements are imbalanced, then for example, it is very hot. And then it's very difficult for us because we don't really have an air condition. So basically, whichever of the afflictive emotion is the strongest, it will have a direct effect on the elements and then cause a certain kind of harm. And sometimes it's therefore too hot, sometimes it's too cold, and so on. And so that is all the essence of the force. It is determined by the balance or imbalance of the 5 elements. But then primordial wisdom, primordial awareness transcends all of that. And therefore we say primordial awareness is in essence empty, but its nature is clear. And because its nature is clear, there are 5 kinds of primordial wisdom that manifest. And so once the mind has matured, there are only qualities that arise from it. But for as long as the mind is unrealized or immature, then those elements will always have both parts. There will be benefits and there will be some faults. So actually, all of this is really actually showing to us how things really exist, how things really work in this world.
좀 돼요. 마병군이 자기산이 금도 말 산인nhập 자체는 자기도 제처럼 저걸 보면 조망에 세운데 다다염 좀어기도 로바르타는 저좀 봐서 저저 홍도다 샤도 보지 로가 있잖아 저발에 자송 보고도 봐서 로가 한번에 자기산이다 장업 맞은 저 가르쳐 로가 장업을 도트는다 서로 여보세 매주난데 발에 자송 보고도 봐서 매일 한번에 자기산이 다들 말아 보마데 같이 좀 마음을 도트는다 산다 다른 너도 여보세 자기 저런데 봐 자송 가보고도 봐서 자기 한번에 보마데 가오 마왜 도트 저 보마데 가르쳐 아까 오바를 도트는다 상대 욕보세 쳐야잖아 발에 자동 보거든 대위 쳐야 하면은 자기산인다 보마데 가르쳐 좀 오바를 도트는다 때도 욕보세 사야잖아 발 자송세 보거든 봐 대위 사야 하면은 자기산인다 세가 보마데 가르쳐 좀 오바를 도트 소개된 거 화몽이 조항가에 짜들로 하면 짠나게 봐도 소개된 거 화몽이 조항가에 채들로 하면 채는지 말도 소개된 거 화몽이 조항가에 쥐들로 하면 채쥐게 봐도 소개된 거 화몽이 조항가에 오들로 하면 오늘게 봐도 대야도 나가나 하라면서 마마 아예 세답할 아빠된 거를 소와 바쁘반데네 서를 못 해야 바싸다 나 보면 와야 맞지 바랑 차창을 하대죠 그런 디바티 봐 어서지가 가진 바 나가 상가에 대해서 나가지 차에 섬니 가면서 디바티 이제 가면 어서 마면은 그 돈이도 서왜 마밤이 또 호수 좀 걸려도 준 바페 번번전에 망나라 바베 창을 저 처음 보아를 쇼 저 대지적으로는 디바로 저쪽으로 인가 저쪽으로 디바트고 저도 문제 깜짝이지 시들때 강 두개 다 와서 더 끊는 되বে 까바다 되면 이제 온다는 정도는 나에 내가 제정하에 저런 거로 좀 나한테 저런 동조 아서 소와 서와서 한 거다 아베게까지 소마야 저예요 알아서 와서 와서 아베게까지 소마야 저예요 맞아 나가다 아베게까지 소마야 저예요 그래서 나가다 아베게까지 소마야 저예요 아래서 와서 나가다 아베게까지 소마야 그래서 뭐 쳐왕지 같이 다다 나가는 종걸 쳐요반데 첫 탐지들이 남진 먹어들이 뭐 쳐지 봐 탐지들이 마마께 남진도 정말 쳐들이 영만들이 도저히 마마께 남진이 첫주고 용진시에는 무슨 산이 무지사 제기 오래돼 쳐라다 남게 거래 누가도 다 남게 거래.
So the empowerment is conferred through the vase water, and of the 5 elements, water is one of the elements that actually also pervades all of the universe, all of space. Everywhere there's water in some way. And all of the water in the universe has the same nature as this water contained in the empowerment vase. And the essence of water in the pure state is Mama Kim, the Dakini Mama Kim, and belongs to the Vajra family. So the Vajra family and the Dakini Mama Kim. Actually, if we would just speak about the qualities of water, water really performs so many activities of a Buddha, enlightened activities. So it's actually, we should all have a pure view toward water. And you should see all of the 5 elements in their pure way.
들이 다당에 별에 쳐다보는 오철에지 가서만에 들이 은혜지 다 잠벨링 다 쳐다면 가리지 강에 가리도 오 처음에서 롱바요 되는 세기 속 차탐지 동이 가리도 대신에 이 매바디 가리지라는 게 레당 박차겠다 레니 바사를 빼나 세상을 차도라서 같은지 차박한 대삼식을 내상 들이 레사죠 바테 탐지 다 당들이 저 덕고 용을 까면 싫어고 그러면 대다든지 용아 쿠만하면 대담지 유모부 중당 들이 상속세부 유디 상속세시바에 참 찬용 단용용을 배는 용아 쿠용 대로 상속세물라고 요래 semla istela shibde yore 이 상속세인데 메나 강용 차담모도 촉체 보겠지 속고방도 될 때가 레상 그래서 로아스 기도 능이 되리 용왕가들 라이는 라는 레니 바살 때 거가들 라한 거리 그때 민답게 도저 배대도 삼모동네 용왕가들이 문에 전에 대사에 막 하고 그래서 아가도 다 하고 그래 마시 사골 거지 송 상하께는 벌써 소드는 용보다만 들어서 말이 대답을 드리는 게 상속세 명들랑 사마를 살이 좀 그래 이놈의 레선 라켓 맞지 라제르당 로그레 상속세는 제 살이 좀 줘서 그래 돈을 살리는데 매송 라이브 대다 탐지들을 광고합니다 라는 거 쌓고 무슨 점들이 하고요 그래
Normally when we look at water, we don't really have like a high regard for it. We just think that's just water. But actually, if you think about it, how would it be in the world if there would be no water? How much suffering do beings experience because they lack water? For example, there might be some places where areas where animals or humans don't have a lot of water. How much should they suffer? And so that is also though because they have accumulated negative karma. It is because of karmic imprints, especially karmas that are driven by the emotions of anger and jealousy. These are kind of heat-related afflictions. So if one accumulates these like heat-natured afflictions or negative karma, then one will be reborn in a place, in a situation where one is deprived of water, where everything is dry and so on. So it is all the fault of the afflictive emotion. So we need to understand the fault of the afflictions and the qualities of bodhicitta. And a quality of bodhicitta is that bodhicitta is a mind of great equanimity. That's what we call bodhicitta, seeing all as equal, as the same. And that's because this equanimous state of mind, this even state of mind of bodhicitta is a very peaceful state of mind. And because we lack bodhicitta, any of the afflictive emotions will take over and be predominant, whether it's attachment, anger, or ignorance. And whichever is the strongest, we will act on it. So we will accumulate karma, and this is what creates the various appearances of the 6 realms of samsara. So the 5 elements can temporarily cause harm if we accumulate negative karma. If we accumulate negative karma, then all medicine becomes poison. It's transformed into poison. Everything good that is actually beneficial becomes hostile and harmful. And it all depends on one state of mind. It's all just one mind. For example, a deity and a demon. Actually, when one has a negative state of mind, then even the so-called deity, even if one thinks of a deity, it actually becomes a demon causing harm. So it all depends on the state of mind. Actually, there is no real deity or a demon and no God. The Drikung Master Dhammaraja had said, when you see that everything that appears and exists is the divine form of the deity, you have mastered the generation stage of the secret mantra. So if you see everything in a pure way, then anything and all can be the deity, can arise as the deity. If you have bodhicitta, everything becomes the deity, everything becomes pure. And if, however, the mind is afflicted and negative, then even the deity becomes a demon, arises as a demon. Because ultimately, Milarepa had said, a real demon and a deity do not actually inherently exist. So during the empowerment, it would be very good if you would understand that clearly.
Namadaye Sharan Dongjo Amidevare Pidakaya Bekenza 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 Tato Nanda Jejubdi Namadaye 사제 사제서만 거빠되는 배트 봉바다고 장남 저 월송을 땜지 오도 땜지 저네 제랑 남한테 보통도 저 왕다선합 톱체도 소에 지배지 제발공시 다 돈을 왕래 돈을 들이다 드바 나트는 의사들이 사다머니 레와치지 제대들이 지지나 돈을 왕 돈만 들이 뒤시지에요 강리 당보 자예 강대 시바스 도마들이 중앙지 못하고 매 중앙 약속이 중앙 자신 중앙지 못하고 바다 살지 봐서 진 중앙은 주스럽게 사제답지 총부여 배우고요 살지 봐서 선발은 출발시 봐대 중앙 대인들이 사촉성을 한 것들이 출발 한 번도 용 꺼져다 뭐 출발 이봉들이 저기 이제 자도 또 맞춰왔더니 그렇죠 용아 나서 봐 그 사람 매 용지에 가래는데 용지 상지 중앙능는 요래 이 배사다는 중앙 야가는 가래는 요래 배서 가래고는 중앙 배대에다 그러더니 또만들 랑보 야예 강도 시바디 바다 라시와 오 사제 탐색 되는 요지 그래서 말에 출발 시바서 되게 초바야 되는 요지 이바라서 나도 시바서 그래서 다 만으로 더스 주민들이 남바 산집에 서랍을 렉스게 받대 저 그 저들이 다 올라타게 배 뒤에탑에 살아 가래요 살아서 족쇄를 삼바는 이제 지모요래 그리고 나서로 나디가 똑똑히 차공도 차대 사석센터 두었다 그래 그리고 자마가 나타지는 좀이 통고래 배대에다들이 더스 주민 나서서 나타지 จึง통고래 내 양가리 내도가 요 말들이 놀러 참아들이 사족점기 제발한테 되게 연구요래 이따다 돌마 이제 doctor 사고 그래서 사지 참대 그래서 만나러 왔다 집이 다다로 강탔다고들이 나는 만나러 왔자마 자들들이 다저 땅면은 잡으리나 어때면 구파 속에는 남바 사집에 서랍탑이 찍어 차대래 저렇게 강이 말 라마 강이 말 그래서 지금 서랍탑이 찍라 딸 사고래 들때 doctor 돌마를 relativistic 다 제일은 남아서 두고요래지.
So this is the Dharma, and the empowerment is conferred based on the Dharma, so it's a Dharma empowerment. And it is through the Dharma empowerment that we are establishing a connection to the deity that we are then actually practicing in a retreat. So in the Dharma empowerment, the Dharma represents 4 different things. Number 1, the Dharma represents the boundless palace of the deities, which is just like a large hotel. If you just imagine the best of the best hotel. And then, secondly, the Dharma also represents the deity itself, So within the Dharma, all the Buddhas of the 3 times can fit. They all come and they can fit in the Dharma, which is like the hotel. So it's also the deity. Then the third quality is that the Dharma also represents the offering. So just like in a hotel, but here it is, all the offerings are the natural manifestation of bodhicitta. So you think that there are limitless offering gods and goddesses making limitless offerings, offering clouds of Samantabhadra, cloud offerings and so on, multiplying all the offerings by the hundreds and thousands. Everything is represented, just like in a hotel. In a nice hotel, you find everything, like the five sense pleasures and anything that you can just wish for. In a better hotel, you will get it. So it's just like that, the Dharma. So first it's like that hotel or the immeasurable palace. And then secondly, it's also the deity. So here you think all the Buddhas are inside the Dharma. And then third, it is also the offering itself. And then number 4, the fourth quality is that it also represents the blessings. And the blessings are also represented by empowerment blessings, are represented by, for example, the mani pills or the dutsi, the nectar pills and so on. All the different blessing pills of any Buddhist tradition. So the various mani pills, for example, they are blessed or consecrated during Drupchen, just like this. And so during this time of consecration, all the deities actually come and then bestow their blessings. And so what actually comes, how do they actually come, is through bodhicitta. It is because they possess great love and compassion. Unlike us, whose mind is like an ice block due to self-grasping. And bodhicitta is like the warmth that melts the ice block. Now, for example, if you have a cold, then you take a medicine for that. And so whatever is the antidote for what you have, this is what it becomes. So there's no medicine maybe that's better or that's worse. But it's all connected to bodhicitta. So now normally we eat part of the Dharma. It is made out of dough, but now instead of that, to represent this Dharma blessing, you can eat the mani pills or the dutsi, the blessing pills. And we had created 100 pounds of the mani pills and distributed them around the world from our monastery. And so, however, it doesn't matter which monastery they're from. You can really take any blessing pills from any monastery, from any lineage, from any lama. It really is all the same. It all has the same benefit. It all has the same blessing. So, and now here I think that the Dharma blessing, the pill, is like a longevity pill.
Some de de bota juma yang da ba do be han ji re pa sang ya de ma de wa juma de ji ba ji do ba kha lo ji ba la la mi ba sa da man lo de ba sang ji to de o pa de me ba de ji ko che pa de me ba de wo de na ta ye ba che da so na de ji pa de me ba se ya lo yang to lo jo ya ba so mo jo ko de jo yum de ji me de jo como ya me señaló, yo sé, oye, señaló, yo no voy a llevar a mami, mami me señaló, yo shiraki, yo, somos yo, señaló, yo, todo el día, yo, cobachi, yo, coche, todo, saque su paquete, te, todo lazo, pesa, traje, se va a traer padre, me señaló, lo che ne ti sto cela to ba di ba no te lo già prima de so je pa da me te lo che ne che do so che le sunbes so je pa da me te lo che ma ko se di ma ko sa je o je ko da mo be se lo che bonne pa parte che già per se lo che ti dici ba Rada ti ba yo do no to go jabar señal yo se favor señal yo solo jabar señal ne jabar señal que 动力中那么是叫老些，这不是什么成就？把我都是说成就，这批的讲，另外就是就话成就，基本上都没到被把卡死呢。上街把我这个叫我成就了，上街去一嘛，他们这我成就了就，他到上街用的多人就到我把这我上街我成就了就，我把红阿比的啊呀就是。个呀，我的大别跟到我们个呀，我个人阿别跟到我大众系的大比嘛，这个是被多节这啊，把的也是让个这个样啊，这多是这个，你大胆你就是这样，可以，这里有人的这里基本上你让那个这里。是那大街上那用的，这里咱们说忙的时候看用了，这个让人洗过来的，到这里这个让人洗，这天嘛这你嘛大把是洗过来的，这然后这个这多嘛这车少有的，这到了这多嘛那就这个有没？这边车有往看看有的。
So this is a long life pill, longevity pill. And so you can eat any pill, any blessing pill, Tutsi pill, the money pill that you have to represent this longevity pill. And it all has the same blessings, no matter what tradition you have it from. So at the end of the empowerment, you can take one of those pills at home. And also you should eat those pills each and every day. So actually, normally the Dharma is there is a separate section of an empowerment where the Dharma is made out of dough, and you're given a dough ball as a longevity pill. So now we don't have that, but this is symbolic of this. So actually, this separate Dharma empowerment for the longevity has really the same essence as the mani pill that you're eating.
top the doje to the jura go je hong da ba me go de sa ja de go jo chu ji jo ja ba yo ma me wang to ne de wa de de wa cho a se so be to ja na be ge zo de tok jo wang ka na doje ko ya de doje se la doje do do je je se yong ti mang bo de ka na yi xin a te la so ba de cha chang chang go yo le
The Vajra represents the mind empowerment, and the Vajra itself has many great qualities. For example, within the Vajra, the 5 kayas are complete, and the 5 wisdoms are complete, and the 5 dhyani Buddhas, and the 8 bodhisattvas, the male bodhisattvas and the 8 female bodhisattvas, they are all complete in the Vajra. And the Vajra also is an example, like an illustration of the mind.
또 거나 좀 버창 나한테 배 대화치도 전에 생각도 벌어 로조 뭐 까봐서 저 이제 혼자는 마음에 어디에서 저도 거기 나 저기 저봐야 되지 정도 전에 저 마음이 거 상도 저 없어서 봐. 不应该那别个人走。 There is Sanjay Obama, Sanjay Bedaya from Zedi. There is the Sanjay from Zedi. There is Dr. Majestis Gungre. Sanjay Jidok Tamchega, the Port Zoma. There is Sanjay Jisutema, Chi Jisutema, Gandu Jisutema, which also took up the payment in the Young song. There is the from the mini drop, dinner drop. There is a cherry drop, dinner drop go yore. They didn't long not any round. You was also telling yore, just a shake yore. Then from this Archimori, then Sanjay Jidok Sama, the dinner Pong, that's on the knee. Nearly 10 Mambotri was also just a shake yore. There it is like what the Chudam Gendu. Then Naka Saji Jogi, and the Domachi Road. Then Naka carry the suggestion of something to go your race. Poor didn't tell it in something given. Then not the Copares or the Delta from Jesus Archibald. Then Saji about me son and better from the so the Saji from Chigati, not from the there are not the Mambo your head of you.
So this is the begging bowl, and Amitabha's bowl is made of lapis lazuli, and then there's also in this bowl, which is the Buddha's bowl or Jigten Sumgön's bowl, and actually Jigten Sumgön had said that any follower of Buddha should have a begging bowl like that, because if you use a begging bowl, you will always remember the three jewels. Whenever you see it, you remember the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, all at the same time. So also you can use these bowls in order to consecrate pills, nectar pills, or in order to consecrate or kind of practice medicinal substances and so forth. So everything is consecrated and accomplished. All the substances are accomplished or consecrated inside such a begging bowl. So that's another quality of the bowl. And then, of course, you naturally always remember the three jewels whenever you see in the bowl. So anyways, I always mention that to you. But just to repeat again, that this bowl is really very precious, and any follower of the Buddha is allowed to use such a begging bowl because you have taken the refuge vow. And you should use such a begging bowl because when you use it, then each and every day, many times, again and again, you will remember the three jewels, and especially the Dharma and the Sangha. So when you remember, you think, I am a follower of the Buddha. I have taken the refuge vow. What does that mean? What do I need to do? I need to have love and compassion for all sentient beings. So if I would be someone using such a bowl, a Buddha's bowl, without cultivating love and compassion, that would be really a great shame if I would do that, because this bowl is so precious and it should remind me of that. So in any case, this is the empowerment of the begging bowl, and Buddha Amitabha's bowl is made of lapis lazuli, so it is blue. But basically all those bowls, those begging bowls of the various Buddhas have many great meanings, important meanings.
대타들이 산지가 사탐는 대타를 용지 사람고 용지 상주 도고 체더니 다다 가다들이 다시 제 낭 창능들이 상 삼진 못 잡아요. 손지 공대에 이들이 로마 참만하더니 다시 딱게 제가 되니 왕영 불는 되다 네 먹어요래.
And then, so for the sake of auspiciousness, there is another branch empowerment of the 8 auspicious symbols and the 8 auspicious substances, which are printed here on this kata scarf. And what these 8 symbols and substances represent are the qualities that one attains when one attains the state of enlightenment. So that is all printed on that katak. And so the qualities of a Buddha really are inconceivable, and therefore it's actually really quite a great blessing to wear such a katak, to have it receive such a katak, because it has those 8 auspicious symbols and substances printed on it. And so to represent this particular empowerment, I am now offering to all of the disciples of this katak.
다시 또 대전에 용각 들어봐 배봐 당 빠밤 그밤 이렇게 좀좋다 메롱 남다 동가서 나갈 좀 뭐서 이 돈이도 뭐 일단 망가는 바바 다시 또 다비에 기독도 세냐다 저 기본 밥이 맞아 동가 제도 말 배워 하야 저 밥은 초고 저 걸어서 걸어서 로만을 왕거로 온 아미디와서 엔도 망가라버도요 다시 다비에도 사지가 걸어 참고요래 세빈나나 다시 제제들이 사지 뭐버도 상계를 가져더니 다시 제제들 플라타바게 동가에 제배는 고생했더니 다시 제제들 포에 되는 로모사는 것들이 다시 제세 저로 사지가 생길라와 다시 제제 답제 뭐버도 상계를 가니 그렇게 웃어 주로 콜로콜을 때 타고요래 때 용때 때문에 왕국요래
For example, the 8 auspicious symbols are auspicious because it is said that they all are one part of the Buddha's body, so they are complete within the Buddha's enlightened body, the major and the minor marks. And then the 8 auspicious substances, they are auspicious because when the Buddha attained complete enlightenment, he was offered by various beings different kind of substances with a request to turn the wheel of Dharma. For example, the god Brahma offered to the Buddha a white right-turning conch shell, requesting him to teach the Dharma, and so on. And in a similar manner, the other 8 substances were offered one by one. And as they were offered with the request to turn the wheel of Dharma, the Buddha gave his blessing on to that substance that was offered to him with that request. And so this is how these particular substances became consecrated. So they became all consecrated at the time when the Buddha attained enlightenment and afterwards when he turned the wheel of Dharma.
다 세장 다 체리들이 벌써 다 세장이 기본을 접어줘라 생각이니서 마예 교리도 저거를 와다들이 세배죠 아미다바 아야서들 보이거나 벽에다 아미다바 보이거나 벽에다 아미다바 아야서들 보이거나 벽에다 아미다바야들 보이거나 벽에다 아미다바야들 보이거나 아베겐다 오만디와르미 아베겐다 오만디와르 뿌잉거나 아베겐다 뿌잉거나 뿌잉거나 아베겐다 오 들이 나한테 왕토를 이제라 왕통내더니 양게다지 다 말이 니네들이 치란 남자다 디스럽다서 게베서 와께 요바탑게 당 다리 왕주 게베서 디 스마디아게 디케와케 습지 탑체서 디와게 디와케 섬디 드니 몸서 사지세 시작로 쇼사마 요리 드니 송지
So now just Rinpoche offered him long life wine, which is after the long life pill, and now this completes the empowerment. At the end of the empowerment, we will offer dedication. And so here in the empowerment text it says we should dedicate all the roots of virtue accumulated in the 3 times, and in particular the root of virtue that comes from having received this empowerment and dedicated toward rebirth in the Pure Land of Sukhavatim. And so with that intention, we should recite together the Emaho prayer to be born in Devachan. I am. So then, let's read that. Emaho. In the center is the Buddha of boundless light. To his right is the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is Vajrapani, the Lord of powerful means. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Extraordinary limitless peace and happiness is the Buddha field called bliss and doubt. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be reborn there, unhindered by another samsaric birth. Once born there, may we behold the face of Amitabha. By the power of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, bless us that we may attain this aspiration without hindrance. Teata Bensandriya Ava Buddha Naya Soha. So now this completes the empowerment, and in the end it speaks about the Samaya, and it is said, so ideally recite at least 100 mantras of Amitabha a day, or in the middling case 21 or at least 7 mantras. And you do that each and every day without skipping a day. Also, you should read the prayer to be born in Devachen, which has been spread around the world. It's available everywhere now. So there is the short and there's also the long prayer to be born in Devachen. it would be very good for you to recite the long prayer to be born in Devachen and really think about the meaning, because actually it contains many very important instructions. For example, it teaches on karma and the suffering nature of samsara and so forth. And so anyway, so I'm trying to recite one mala round of Amitabha every day without skipping. But then what's most important is that you dedicate your merit, thinking that may through this merit all sentient beings be born in a pure land of Devachan. And so regarding Samaya, there are root Samayas and there are branch Samayas. And even though there might be hundreds of branch Samayas, there is a single root Samaya that all the empowerments share. And the single root Samaya is to cultivate love. And those of you who understand that, they will be able to transform this love into bodhicitta. So everyone possesses wisdom to some extent, because everyone possesses the potential to become a Buddha. That's why everyone possesses wisdom. And along with this wisdom, you also possess love. Because there is some wisdom, there is at least some love. And this is how it is taught. And that love is the Samaya. So that love should be sustained, whoever you have it for. For example, if it's your devotion to the guru, the spiritual teachers, or the love that you have for your friends, your companions, that love, and not to lose that love, that is the Samaya. And this love might be very limited, but it must be increased so it becomes strong love until it becomes bodhicitta. So in brief, you must not allow this love to become destroyed by anger or jealousy. In order for that not to happen, you must practice patience. So it is said that there's a saying that says, lion's milk needs to be contained by a golden vase. And this golden vase is your patience. And actually, bodhicitta is also said to be like gold, because gold cannot easily break. It cannot easily become tarnished. You can't cut it and so on. And of all the different precious like materials, gold is considered the best one, the most important one. And so here in this example with the lion's milk, your bodhicitta, your love, would be the lion's milk. And the bowl, the golden bowl, would be patience. So lion's milk is because a lion doesn't have to be afraid of any other animal. So if you have bodhicitta, if you love others, then there is no fear, there is no suffering in this life, in the bardo, or in future lives. If you have bodhicitta, you become fearless, just like a lion. So that's why it is the lion's milk. And the lion's milk must be contained in the bowl, a golden bowl. And the golden bowl is patience, so it can't break. In brief, you must hold on to your love. You must protect your love with patience and do not allow it to become destroyed by anger and by jealousy. So that's really the Samaya that you have to keep between each other, also between each other Dharma friends and the various disciples, between everybody. So now this completes the empowerment. And so again, the essence of all empowerment, even if you receive 100 empowerments, it all comes down to a single essence, a single vow, and that is the Samaya of love. You must have love for all, for everyone, even a demon, you must love them. And if you want to become liberated, you must cultivate love, you must cultivate bodhicitta.
tani tata tani sanji longo chuko de longo de chuko da tawari ta hu su chi zok tek til tamya ta de chuko de ta kasab ne nyuman ra ori pe ta te mu bo chiman de ba te sa yore de ta ta mu se tani sanji chuko da longo mo se te ran tongo ke ko yore tani la ma ge shi tamje sanji longo de chuko de tawari 무슨 통과요지 샘 자냠대요 상칼 삼대요는 대야 삼대라 되네 삼대요는 타를 보이는 애들이 냠대요래 삼대 미를 주고 냠대요는 애들이 만피마를 빼래 저거요만 빼대 또 삼대리 삼대 진짜서 탐색들이 너부터 상속 설치로 상속 선는 거에 초라한테 좀 사바자치 보이구나 이제 동네에 저 단지면은 대 민이 니보한테 내자 민지 그 삼재들은 뭐도 빠고 차는 거요래 배는 사지 그 삼재들이 사재들이 딱bat이 영가자 마다bat이 영가자는 까치다 게 니만을 배 까치지 샘팅을 돈들이 까치서 주들 먼저 말이 무슨 미 파파지를 배는 작하고 막는 속선은 자카트 삼티오나 랑솔리 토토요레 삼티미트 랑 다디지나 자보게 소타다 나 차데 빈장 랑케요레 라부테디 이가도나 랑솔리 토토요레 드리 도 다디치 랑솔 랑케요레 데이터티 삼티게 용티 데이터 이동마들이 랑을 소토잖아 테로 톰메 바해 다디치 랑들이 랑 도게 랑을 차르 랑솔 체크요레 대기를 때는 삼재가 용띠의 양양도 돼. 나디가 중의 양양도 돼. 이때 대는 나디도 진짜 니가 때리. 들다라서 라고 때문에 다시 기와를 기와 차를 양들이 동해의 용도라서 라고 주. 이래 박차가 다다다 이제 나버는 멀리 톱나야. 나라서 되니만 보여래. 또 고슬 제 코르들 제 말이 라글레 박차에 샤롱디 다제 나와 제거래 다라시 자들이 담을 대단들이 망보요래 진짜 라글레가 박차 대리 레가 박차 마시고 샤롱거래 그리 대회나 다디 니보 가래도 상태되다고 야거래 그리 주지 상태 sep지 탐지 세메바 사바 세메바 이제 이게 상태야 맞지 저 약합을 뜻이 망을 피시 맨날 랑그 나무 때지 sabte hebe bayuna tias yabori tita wa 통jon no samtere tiri tugechi samatachi dele
And thank you all the disciples who have joined in the live stream today, and also know that all the Sangha who is practicing those 100 million mantra recitation retreats together, which is actually extremely meaningful. If many different Sangha members from whichever lineages and so on come together and practice together, it's actually an incredible merit. Because in the large Sangha assembly, there also are many bodhisattvas, and then the Sangha can support one another through practicing together in that way. So, for example, nowadays we can do it on the live stream. It's very convenient. You can just do it from your home, wherever you are. So, anyway, that is the great quality of Dharma practice. And so, regarding the appearance of a Buddha, now the Buddha's Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya appear just like that, like we see each other, like on the screen, for example, and so on. If you really want to touch and hug somebody, then you need the Nirmanakaya. But actually, the Nirmanakaya is like the kind of the stale part, the coarse part of the three kayas. It's not as refined and subtle as the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya, because in the state of Nirmanakaya, there still is a little bit of grasping at a concrete reality and there's thoughts in the mind. And regarding the Sambhogakaya and the Dharmakaya, now through the screening, for example, we can see each other, we can hear each other's voice, which is really seeing and hearing the Sambhogakaya. So that's the nature of Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya of the different spiritual teachers. Now, the how we are together and what is shown to us by seeing each other on the screen too is how we are really together is not through the physical matter, but it's through the mind. It is through love. It all depends on love. If you have love, even if you're far apart, you are actually together. Your minds are actually together. And if you do not have love, even if your bodies are together, you will not be happy. You will not get along with each other. So love is really most important. Love is your jewel in this life and in all future lives. And if love becomes great, it becomes bodhicitta. But even if it's just a small love, it is still of such an incredible benefit, because the root of all suffering is self-grasping. And love is the only antidote to that. So for this reason, love is like the single medicine that cures 100 different illnesses. If you have love, you are like a hero, you're courageous, you are fearless. For example, the Buddha Shakyamuni himself in the past, before attaining enlightenment, he took birth in 500 impure and in 500 pure incarnations in order to benefit sentient beings. He was able to endure all these hardships. And also Milarepa, for example, was able to endure all these hardships for the sake of sentient beings. So if that is the motivation, then one will not be afraid when it comes to enduring hardships. So these masters are unlike us ordinary people. For us ordinary people, we are afraid, for example, when a little bee stings us, and we think, now it hurts me. So they are not like that. They're not ordinary like us, but they really care about all sentient beings. But even if we don't think about all sentient beings, we at least think about those around us. So the Buddhas, they were really able to give up even their bodies, their own life force for the sake of others. And of course, for us, that is difficult. Ideally, of course, we only think about others, but at least we think about those around us. For example, the people in our country and so forth. For example, there are some people who go to the army to defend their country because they love their country, and they are willing to give up their life for their country because they love their country. They fight. That is also, they are also not ordinary beings. They possess great love, great bodhicitta. So on the other hand, if we are if we cling so much to a self, then there is no way we can care about others in that way. And even ourselves, we even often, some people, they develop so much negativity and selfishness that they even commit suicide because they are completely overwhelmed with suffering. So it's important to see the quality of bodhicitta and the fault of self-grasping. If you have bodhicitta, you can do anything for others fearlessly and with great courage. If you do not have bodhicitta, if you grasp at a self, you will not be able to tolerate any suffering, not even the slightest suffering, your own suffering, and leave alone the suffering of others. And often people commit suicide because of that. So really think about this again and again. For example, somebody whose self-grasping is extremely strong and they commit suicide, they actually have ruined themselves in this life and future lifetimes, because if one commits suicide, then in all future lifetimes to come, again and again, over and over again, at least for as long as the karma is present, again and again one will have to experience the suffering of committing suicide. So that is for as long as the karma and the imprint is present in the mind. And then even though one takes birth in the human world as a precious human body, there still are so many who commit suicide. It's because of that. So some people call them like demons and so on, but they are not demons. It's just a karmic imprint manifesting until it is exhausted, until the karma has come to an end. And until then, things appear, like demons appear to them, and so forth. Things appear in a negative way. There is nothing really negative, it's just, it appears that way for as long as you have the karma, the karmic imprint to see it that way. And so due to these imprints, we see things in various different ways. So the only antidote for that, the only thing that we can do is to cultivate love. And the Dharma love is a love that is for all sentient beings. It's immeasurable love of the four immeasurables. But even worldly love is good. If you have worldly love, you should expand that for all the people in the world, in your country, and so forth, everyone surrounding you, your companions. Or at the very least, you should sustain the love with, for example, your family members and those in your immediate surroundings. So that is the most important thing to do. If you can just sustain love, then you're fine. So in brief, it's all about love. It's all about love. So with that, Dashi Delek, and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for Garchen Rinpoche for bestowing the empowerment. We wish you long life and good health. And rejoice to all our Dharma brothers and sisters today for receiving the empowerment. We'll be having the teachings again tomorrow at 7 a.m. Singapore time. And later on, Dozen Rinpoche will be leading the next segment of the recitation retreat and also giving the teachings starting at 9:30 Singapore time. Do encourage your families and friends to participate in the auspicious event. So before we turn on the microphone and say goodnight to Rinpoche, do come back by 9:25 Singapore time. We will not close this Zoom room, so you can turn on you may continue in this room after saying goodnight. So we now request for all panelists to turn on your video and also microphone to say your good nights and goodbyes to Rinpoche. And me?
Sanin Jaya Rinpoche, Sanin Miraya
Rinpoche, I was so happy to see your faces. Thank you.
I'm very happy.
Also, microphone.
Thank you.
Long life.
Your faces.
Long life and Rinpoche.